All right. Then we're just gonna skip it. Um, so yeah, welcome to the Data Fam. In case you are new to these Tug Tips Live, these slides probably don't look any different than you've seen them in the past because you haven't seen one of these. But we are using the new Data for All um, slide deck template that's on the user group hub. So that's where all of these slide backgrounds are coming from. Um, so like we normally do at a Tug Tips Live, we are going to just do some highlights from the Slack, some updates from the Tug Leader Hub on Bevy, and then it's open forum. So to start it off, Cor, I'm gonna hand this over to you on the highlights.
Yeah, there's some fantastic news. Finally, this is something that Salesforce Tableau never told us. They just suddenly, under the hood, said that now the reimbursement, you can use it for a whole bunch of things, but not for alcohol anymore. And that's kind of why 50% of people go to user groups, right? To get free alcohol, at least in Norway, where it's so damn expensive. So this is finally back, and if you click on the next slide, and unfortunately there's a limitation, and the limitation is that it's only for virtual tugs. So people, when you're at home, you can then get the reimbursement coming in. And obviously, if you go to the next slide and looking at the first song we had, you know what day it is today. So you still have to pay for that. Get that local sponsor. I'm sorry about that.
Nicely
But
done.
Chris has been caught out twice with April Fools this morning.
Yeah, so we were hoping, but not yet, not yet. But for those of us going to see, at least, there will be hopefully some free alcohol, or what we do in Norway, we get these like 2 tickets, so you can switch them in for alcohol if you want to. But let's hope that that doesn't happen at TC. But there is some real stuff happening as well, right? So the highlights that will be found on the leader Slack, where Laura put this in. Well, not today because it was copied from the day that it was published in there. So the most important thing now is for all of us leaders to do the survey, the leader satisfaction survey. Just put in we want alcohol back, of course. That's for the free text. I'm not sure if that will help, but we still have 10 days to fill the survey. It's a quick 15-minute survey, so please do that. I've done mine already, and then there's a whole bunch of this. I'm not sure if anybody from Tableau will tell us the number of people who signed up for the conference this year, but there is a flash sale for conference, so that you can share this with your user groups and everyone else. I'm not sure, a bit little too late, I guess, at least from people coming from all over the world, because trying to find a flight now at Easter/springtime to no, spring break, sorry, in the US, it's maybe a bit difficult. But if you have some people local that are wanting to travel, there's a sale, get $800 off. And then it's the price that is today, not the pre-sale or early bird ticket. And then this is the what we're looking at, the new slide deck. You're going to see I've even used it to modify something later on in a slide a bit later, but there's this data for all assets in Canva where you can create slides and customize and do a lot of stuff. And I normally, when I run the Norway Tableau user group, I only put up the Bevy page. This is the agenda for today, and then we move on. But I found this, like you said in here, Laura, as well. You love the new slide deck or the new setup. So I for our first meeting this year, I even used the slides to introduce people and the agenda. So it's really nice and very easy to customize it as well.
Yep. we're going to be using it to redo our slides starting in May as well. So our not our post TC session, but the one after that for HE-TUG is going to be a brand new look for us, which will be the TUG leader slides or the TUG data for all slides. So very excited about that.
Yeah, and it feels like you're a designer suddenly, and when you're in Canva and doing all those adjustments in there. So that's cool. And what is this? This is the Canva. Well, it's more about the Canva thing, isn't it? So you can go in and do or learn how to do this. There was last session as well, which is recorded. There you can see a user guide or how to do this. And now they even started to do onboarding videos for new members in here in different languages. That's
and there's a lot more in this in the Canvas within the Slack. Not all of these links are sort of housed centrally there, along with on the TUG Leader Hub, which is really great. There was just too much. We couldn't there's if we scrolled, we'd have like 5 pages of links here. So that.
Yeah, I saw this one. Both coming on Slack and also on LinkedIn. I think was it yesterday that for those of you who are not going to TC in person, now you can sign up for the virtual one. So it's not the same, obviously, but you will be able to see a lot of the big keynotes and the big sessions, and hopefully there will be some opportunity to do some networking and stuff like that as well. But there will be a lot of this on-demand content that you can sign up for. So the same as if you're going in person or virtually, just go through the agenda and sign up for the ones that you would like to see, and especially for the ones that are virtual, they will be recorded and will be available after. And when I got the session builder, that was that was big, like 10 sessions at the same time, overlapping. So when I then went through all the different days and signed up for the ones that I wanted to see or favorited the other ones, and then zoomed out and looked at all 3 days, it was just a big patch of colors and overlapping sessions. So I think someone else also mentioned you need to have time to take a breather, but remember for the ones that are recorded, you might want to skip those the in person, so you're able to see the ones that are not recorded, because those will be available. And Laura asked how long time it did. Well, it took me a long time, I feel, because I started in the beginning and then I clicked on the ones that I wanted to look at. And then when you try to, it was pretty nice in the way that it told you that you have already booked this session or it's going to overlap in something else. You could put it as a favorite. So when you then kind of zoomed out afterwards, you could see which one was overlapping. So you can switch between favorites and which one you actually register for. And then you could put in your own like free time, or I'm going to be at the user group stand one day, and I'm going to be doing some meetups and other stuff. So there won't be time to see everything that you want to see, but that's how it is with the conference, anyways.
Yeah,
but
it's tricky to choose, isn't it?
Yeah, and one thing that you can do is if you see a session that is not being recorded, or even one that is being recorded, you could always reach out to the speakers and say, hey, would you be willing to come talk at my TUG? And Chris, I'm going to put you on the spot because I can, unless you just logged off. I can't tell what just happened to my screen. But you started a new data fam TUG, which is where a lot of the speakers who are at TC are going to be presenting their TC session. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, a lot of speakers. I think I've got about 5 so far. I don't think you can get a lot, but I found so far, I think I did a record today. It was 71 minutes between contacting someone and having them booked in for a TUG group, and it's more just the same thing. Just reach out and say, hey, I see you're presenting at TC25. Do you want to repeat it on my TUG? And no one has said no yet. Someone said, I'm too busy, come back to me after TC. But they were quite happy to do it. They just didn't want to book it in before TC. So I think it's sort of the easiest way to get presenters. It's just people are at TC. They may not know that their session's probably not going to be recorded, but if they're on a TUG, then it probably will be recorded, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I've seen that one as well, and me and Prasan was planning on, but it was a bit too, or we saw it too late. So our plan was to book one of those sessions, but to do it before TC to practice as well, which is also a clever way of doing that. But we'll definitely reach out and do that our session after TC, and of course everyone else that are running user groups, just reach out. That's the least of the problem, to get people to speak, I think. And we also have there's a Google Sheet where you can fill in if you have a presentation that you would like to present at different user groups, or the other way around. If you go to that document, then you can also see if there's any interesting sessions that you like and contact those people.
Yep. And one thing that is on my to-do list, I told Rain it would be after I finish my slides, which I have not done. We're gonna try to reach out to all the speakers, at all the community speakers at TC, and just get them to either fill out that form or put their information somewhere so that there's an easy central contact area for TUG leaders to be able to do that reach out. But Laura just posted the speaker form in the chat as well, and that speaker form is linked on the TUG Leader Hub.
Yeah, Laura put it in the chat as well. Thank you, Laura.
And in terms of updates on the TUG Leader Hub, we're going to mention that satisfaction survey yet again. Links are somewhere in the chat here and also on the TUG Leader Hub. You got 10 more days for that.
Yeah, and that was Chris already mentioned that. I think I also saw that, but I just ignored it and skipped through when there was a question there, or the workflow, there was something wrong in it. But Laura's gonna hopefully fix that now.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Actually, yeah. See whether. Sorry about that. That was really annoying that happened. I'll have a look through. Also, we are working on to try and get more and more people to fill in the survey form, just because
Yes.
it does, like, it helps so much by seeing like what everyone likes, what everyone doesn't like. It really does make a difference, and we're like looking at the responses all the time. We're gonna try and see if we can find some sort of incentive to get like more and more sign-ups. So I'll keep you guys posted first, to let you know if we've managed to sort that out. I think it might be like maybe swag gift cards or something like that for your TUG. So yes, fill it in. Everyone who fills it in is in a chance of winning, but we'll announce that properly.
So for those who already have one, we have 2 tickets, right?
Well, no, everyone who's filled it in, just could, yeah.
Yeah, but already filled it in. We should have extra tickets.
April Fools.
Yeah. It's a ticket for CC. Oh my gosh, that would be good. I wish I could get CC. Yeah, so I will keep you all posted. But that's just a sneaky little spoiler there, preview, because we've not got it 100% confirmed yet. As always with these things, it's a bit funky. Yeah, fingers crossed. So thank you everyone for filling it in so far. Also, we're really pleased that so many people have done it. So thank you very much.
Speaking of a ticket for TC, there are ways to get, like, I'm being serious here, not an April Fool's. There is a Tableau hackathon on the Monday of TC 25 in San Diego, where if you win the hackathon, or your whatever it is you build is selected, you can actually win a free ticket to TC 26. So don't remember the details. I'm pretty sure that they were cross-posted somewhere in Slack.
Yeah, it's all over Slack. So it's an Agentforce build thing.
But there's some training and a bunch of resources available, and like, test sites that will be available to anyone who does join.
And Laura, TC 26, is it in San Diego or?
I don't know yet because the contract was up, wasn't it, this year? But I have no idea. I
Well, I'll
hope
find
so.
out together, right?
Yeah. Gosh, I hope so. I really want to go to San Diego again, and we're not able to go this year. So yeah,
Oh no.
I know, I'm really gutted. Yeah, there's no we haven't got international travel, so we'll just be doing the virtual sessions. But yeah, I think you'll all love it. Obviously, San Diego is really sunny and hot, so if they're choosing anywhere to do TC, it's a great place.
It's true. I've been to, I think this is my 5th or 6th conference in not just PC, but there's another conference I go to over the last 3 years, and every one of these conferences has been in San Diego, and I'm like, yes, please. There's a conference in San Diego. Of course I'll go.
Yeah.
I don't care what time of year it is. Yes, I'm going to go.
Yes, because you know what, the jet lag doesn't even feel like hit as hard when you're in a sunny place like that. It's like, oh,
it's true.
No,
It's
no, that's the alcohol, Laura. It's not the weather.
yeah, actually, a bit of both.
So speaking of TC, there are a few TUG related events happening at TC, and by a few, 3 whole days of TUG related events happening at TC. So if you are part of these communities or want to just let your TUG community know, there is going to be a meetup or a group of meetups on every single day of TC. The first day is all of the sort of belonging TUGs or communities from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Basic, except for during the keynotes, there is a meetup happening. Day 2 is industry related, and so all of these industries here. I think there's actually a slight change in the scheduling on day 2. I don't remember what that is, but if you go to the session catalog, the times I believe there are correct or will be corrected soon. And then day 3 has some technical sessions. So there's what is it, Center of Excellence or Enablement meetup. There's one for data dev, and then there's one around accessibility. So these meetups are a great way to meet people who are like you in some way, or who are in the same industry or whatnot. And it's just a great way to have some like one-on-one chats and learn what else is available. So I know at the education one, we're going to talk about all the education TUGs, but we're also going to talk about some unique projects. And then, a lot of folks in education don't really get a chance to talk live with each other, or it's almost all virtual. So it's going to be a great opportunity for folks both in sort of the primary and secondary school level, as well as all like the higher ed folks, like to just get to chat with each other and find out how are you guys handling this thing or that thing, and yeah, it's going to be. I'm looking forward to these community meetups so much. They sort of were one of the highlights of TC last year for me. So spread the word to folks who are going to TC that this is all happening.
Yeah, and also you find all of those, if you search for meetup, you find them in the session builder. And that came as a surprise to me when I was trying to search for this data plus maps meetup that me and Dennis Cow and Ross Paulson from Tableau is hosting, because we are not doing a meetup, we are doing a community learning session instead. But it's similar in the sense that it's a meetup, but you can't sign up for it. You just have to wander around in the data village at the community learning zone. So there will be more of these, but I haven't found. The problem is that you can't search for them in the session builder. So if you're at TC, you're wandering around the data village, there's something called a community learning zone. And then there will be different topics, different groups that are doing this different thing, like we are doing with the Data Plus Maps user group. So basically that will be we'll talk a bit about maps, why we love maps and what you can do with maps. And then it will be kind of a networking event where you can talk and discuss as well. Trying to get those Mapbox people to sponsor us so we can have some, alcohol, but haven't landed that one yet. But if you're into maps or spatial analysis or anything, please see us on April 15th.
Yep, and there are events in the community learning zone for a bunch of different like industries and subtopics as well. I know there's another education or an educators one happening on, I want to say Wednesday after Dev's on stage, but I could have the timer on. Where there'll actually be someone demoing some of how they teach Tableau to folks. One of the TUG leaders, actually, Luca Perkovic, from the Memphis Educators Tech, is going to be leading that demo. And it's a great little partnership between the folks at Tableau and the community. So looking forward to all of these too. There's just so many things happening at TC, guys.
Yeah, but that was a bit. I didn't understand why these were not part of the session builder, so you could actually know that they are there. So we who are running these learning sessions, at least we need to go and try to promote them.
Yeah, and it's possible that they will show up. I'm hoping it is realistic that they will show up in the events app once TC is live in the Salesforce events app. Yeah, we'll see. And that is it for our planned content. We did have a few questions that came up that I think were sent to Laura from a TUG leader around these first three questions. And actually, I can't remember where the fourth one came from. Victoria, was that you? I don't remember. It doesn't really matter where these questions came from, but we can sort of talk through some of this content. So if anyone has any tips on engaging other co-leaders, now's the time. And I'm going to actually start with one. If you're going to TC, go find people. Just talk to random people. I know it's hard, but that is one way to find someone who's willing to co-lead or at least help out with some of the organization, even if they don't want to become a full-on co-lead. But everyone else, like, how have you found co-leads for your TUGs?
So quite recently for the newbie TUG, we unfortunately had to, we had a drop off, like, one co-lead decided to opt out. And then being a newbie TUG, we always have, we feel that we need more leaders. There's a lot happening around the preparation and communicating and trying to reach out to the newbies. So there were random questions on LinkedIn, at least for me, that they were asking, like, how can I be a part of a TUG, and then we kind of reached out to them and asked them a couple of simple questions, like, why do you want to join the TUG team, and what is it that you would bring in on the table for the TUG. So based on the answers that we get, we kind of selected a few candidates, and then just give them a kind of a reality check, like, okay, this is what will be required. You will be required to spending this many number of hours, or probably help prepare the content, or somewhere around, or help in preparing social media content, something to post and share, and try to reach out to the the larger audience and more Tableau newbie users specifically. So yes, sometimes some people get a bit worried about the commitment. They would, they're not sure about how much hours or how much commitment they could bring in. But then some are like pretty confident, okay, yes, we can do it. And then that's where we kind of select those. And then we do have a frequent connect, so Jim, Klaus, me, we kind of have a frequent connects and try to work out what is going to happen in the next event and how do we prepare for it. So in the last event of newbie TUG, we did a live build from scratch viz. So taking a public data and show it live, like how to prepare the data, clean it, and then build some visuals around it and find some insightful analysis. So for this, it was a lot of efforts put in the background, like actually getting the data and cleaning up properly and identifying those tips and tricks, how to share it with the audience and so on. So there's a lot of interaction and is required in that scenario. So that's how it was done for the new beta.
Yeah, I can chime in what we've been doing in the Norway user group. At least when I restarted that, it was kind of dead for many years. I restarted that back in 2018, and then since I'm working in a company that are a partner of Tableau, I knew a lot of people across in Norway that were eager to use Tableau as well. So I managed to get some people from different customers to attend or to run it. And then if we're looking back to 2018, I'm the only one that's left, but then we have been switching in and out leaders because, well, the company have gone in a different direction to this other tool that shouldn't be mentioned, for example, because it's free. And then, of course, they even though they still love Tableau, they don't see that they have time to spend on running the user group. But it's that's what I've been doing over time. One thing was to the last new co-lead now, she was invited to speak, and then after she was presenting at the user group, we had a chat, and then now she's a co-lead as well. So that could be a way of engaging new leaders, is to, if you get somebody that speaks at your event that you see that are really interested in Tableau and the whole data fam bit, and also have some time on their hand, then reach out and ask.
So, Tori, you mentioned that you worked for a company that helped sponsor some events for the Norway Tug. So, the other question, or the next question here, is about businesses. Like, how do you find businesses who are willing to partner? Because as Tori, I'm a little worried here. You've mentioned alcohol a lot this session. But the reimbursement budget only goes so far and can only be used for certain things. So sometimes we do have to look for a partner, both for for things like space, for additional food and beverage, for potentially additional swag. So does anyone want to share some of what they've done to partner with businesses to not only host events but also perhaps to get folks to show up to your talk?
Yeah, we do the same thing that we've done, or in Norway at least, we've done that with reaching out to Tableau partners in Norway or the Nordic region that are active. So they have been sponsoring the events for extra food and beverage. Space we try to not spend money on, because we can either be, especially if one of the speakers work at a company organization that have suitable rooms, then we go there. That also attracts a lot more people from that particular company organization, so it fills up quite good. We're quite lucky in Oslo, at least, that there's a space that is free to rent as long as it's open to everybody. Not that anyone else pops in, but it's free for us, so we don't spend money on that. But that's how we normally engage our other businesses, at least, to help pay for that alcohol and extra food and other swag if we need to.
And Tori, you mentioned like you used to ask your own organization to partner, and I've done something similar. I work in a school, and so schools often have classrooms or auditoriums that can be borrowed or booked. Um, and I know that other tugs have partnered with schools. So the Northern New England tug, for example, they are basically they do a hybrid session at the Rue Institute at Northeastern University, and so they kind of have a built-in space. And the other cool thing about these for them, the Rue Institute also has a really great visualization research program, and so like there's a little bit of like potential speakers, sort of if you want to do a more theoretical talk at a tug, combined with a more tactical Tableau talk. So there's always, it's not necessarily partnering with a school for food and beverage budget, but at least for space, that's something to look into. And I know that a few other tugs have also looked at hosting at a university in their area. I can't remember which one, but I know Laura mentioned at some point one of the UK tugs has done the same thing.
That was Scotland, I think. And Scotland, yeah, and Gujarat have done it too.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So there's always options for finding space. I don't know how well it's worked, but like public libraries, if you have some of them will have meeting spaces as well, as especially if you're just starting up your user group and you aren't expecting a huge turnout the first few times. That might be a good starting spot to get your bearings, as it will, to sort of try things out. Does anyone else have any tips on engaging with businesses?
Pretty much the same thing that was already said. We had some members that offered up spaces at their businesses and invited colleagues. But yeah, same story.
Yeah, it's the bring a friend and then see what that friend has to offer
Exactly.
approach. Nice. What about topics? So like, one of the ways to get people engaged in the tug is to have the tug be more than just here's some presentations you can sit from your couch or your desk at work and watch. But the other part of it is that networking and the getting people engaged and chatting and discussing like we are today. So are there any topics that folks have found useful to get engagement from your user groups?
One topic we had was we invited somebody from the local open data government office and who also happened to be a Tableau enthusiast. And that was sort of interesting, a little bit outside of the normal topics, but it allowed for engaging discussion and that sort of thing.
I'm coming from the States. I'm a little surprised that a government would be willing to share. But that
Yeah, I guess things are quite different there now.
Yeah. Sorry, should be keeping politics out of this. That ship has sailed. It is April Fool's Day. One of the things, topical events, so things like Tableau conference, like we've done a networking group for our networking room in our virtual HE Tug events for TC, we often will. It's hard with virtual sessions because people do just want to leave if you do the networking at the end, but they will also leave if you do the networking in the middle to try to break up the session. So we sort of made that networking part at the end, made it optional, and we do get a fair bit of drop off. But if we know that we're going to have a session where a new topic or a new so like Tableau prep is still new to a lot of folks in higher ed. So sometimes if we're having a session that has a lot of Tableau prep discussion, we'll make sure that we have a networking room for that as well. So we end up getting people who are almost brand new to Tableau prep, and we might have some the speaker and maybe some folks who've been using prep for a little bit longer or have specific questions to ask, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, we've done some surveys earlier as well to see when do you want to have the sessions at what kind of weekdays or during what time of day, etc. And also what topics are you interested in. And prep was one of them that a lot of people requested, so we did a session on that, and also a bit more hands-on or type of workout Wednesday or makeover Monday thing. So we did one of those last year and going to repeat one of those this year as well, where they actually bring a laptop and do something not just listening to what other people are presenting, but actually being a bit active. And we start always with some beverage and pizza when people show up, because we do it just after work hours. Then we do the sessions, and then for those who want to join for a trip to the local pub to network and have something nice in the glass, then we do that, and then I think roughly 50% normally tends to join for the networking bit in the end as well.
If only that virtual reimbursement did include food and beverage. I wonder if we get less of a drop off for our AT TUG networking. I think, normally we go from, let's say, 100 and 125 people down to less than 10 during our network sessions, broken out across 1 or 2 different rooms. And I'm reminded one other thing that we do during our sharing discussion time is we will usually have one breakout room where one of the co-leads is in there, and it's present at AG TUG or present at a TUG, where we can, we sometimes are able to get new speakers. We talk to them about what they're potentially interested in sharing a presentation on, ask questions to help them tease out whether it's it's ready, or figure out what is it they're looking to. Is it a 5 or 10 minute short tip, or is it something longer? So we found that really helpful to sort of engage people who might be new at presenting, or who haven't been doing this TUG thing for a while. They're sort of just getting their feet wet. So we just offer that space for think through potential presentations. And then we send them on to our form if they're interested, so that we can get them scheduled for our TUG. I can't say that our return rate is all that high, but it is so helpful. We've definitely gotten a few presentations that way, just by having those conversations.
Well, we see it here as well. It was 24 people signed up for this session, and we are 6. So
Yep.
Yeah.
we are not any better than our participants, are we?
Feel much better about that now. So, Tori, this is another question that you know a lot about, the idea of a super TUG. So back during the pandemic days, when we were just sort of learning, oh, hey, we can host these virtual events, we saw a fair number of super TUGs where 2 or more TUGs from potentially different areas would get together and host a joint meeting. And so now that we're back in person, I know I'm like, that was many years ago, but now that we're back in person, we also have the option of adding an in-person component to 1 or more of those TUGs that are joining in a super TUG. And Bevy actually has co-hosting options, so there's a technical solution around that too. So, Tori, can you talk a little bit about the I can't remember what you termed it, but I'm gonna just say the Scandinavian super TUG.
Yeah, we started first with the Scandinavian one, and then we expanded to a Nordic super TUG. Nordic is a bit bigger than Scandinavia. So last year we had the Norwegian one, the Swedish one, the Finnish one, the Danish don't have any TUG at the moment, but we managed to get a speaker from there. Same with Iceland, they don't have any user group, but I know the partner over there. So they managed to get a speaker from there as well. So we had 5 speakers from 5 different countries. And then we had Chantilly, who were our keynote to start everything off. And then in Finland and Norway, we were doing hybrids. We had in-person meetings. And then for the rest of the countries, they were joining virtually, and people were joining from not just the Nordic countries. It was all over the world. But we set up, or the Norway user group set up the meeting, the Bevy page, and then other groups, or you can then say that you want to co-host this, and then the other groups can just tick a box, and then they're co-hosting in the way that they just share the same Bevy that we are doing. I can't remember where it is, so please don't go in and unless you know where it is, Roshni, but I can't remember where that was. And then they can co-host so that we have one common group or a page that people sign up for. If they go through for example, the Finnish one and sign up, then they can choose if they want to do virtual or in person then in Finland versus in Norway, so that we actually can count who's joining where. There you go, make this a co-hosted event. But looking at the people who signed up at the attendees, I know that people from the Norway TUG suddenly were at the Finland group and the vice versa. So either they missed the link somewhere or the setup was incorrect. That was a bit of a challenge in knowing then how many people were actually joining or where they were joining from. And then we had a discussion, of course, with the TUG leader team on the money, the reimbursement, because if there were 100 people signing up in total, then that's one budget, right? And then we have the extra for the virtual one. But since two of the groups were doing in person, and this sign up thing was not entirely correct. So, as I said, some Finnish people signed up for the Norway in person TUG and vice versa. How could we then decide the budget? Do we all or all groups go for the at least in-person groups go for the budget for the total amount or the total number of attendees? Or so there was a bit discussion back and forth, and there wasn't any policy on it at the moment, at least for when we did it last time. So. We didn't spend all our money anyway, so that's fine. We kind of didn't we didn't reach a limit, so it wasn't a big problem. But I'm not sure if there now has been, Laura, any change on what will the policy be. Let's say there's 100 people signing up and you have two groups, and if there's 50 in each of them, do they then get the reimbursement for the 50 tier, or do they get for the 100 both of them plus the virtual?
This is something I need to get clarified from Melissa, actually, because I believe she was looking into that. So I'll feed back to you, Tor, so you can share.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd
because
be great.
I think that will be something that, and also as Roshan mentioned, this is something that more user groups are doing, both in person, but a combination of multiple in-person groups versus and also the virtual, so everybody can join up. So
Yeah.
it would be nice to know what the policy are for the reimbursement in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to point out some things that I hadn't noticed. So there is a new dashboard design in Bevy, and that's been here for a couple of months now. But the way that co-hosting works is slightly different here. So in the legacy dashboard here, when you go to the co-host tab, it usually will generate a link, and then you share that link with the other tug leaders that you want to co-host, and they have to go in and click a button, like they log in and they click a button at the top of their page. Actually, let me do that as okay, there we go. So if I go in as for the math page, I'm gonna go to our main page, and usually up here I'll see a co-host option. Don't remember why I can't see it here, but let's pretend that I did.
Yeah, we had a lot of problem doing that in the old one. The other user groups didn't find that. They clicked the link. There was nothing to click on when they, even though the user guide said that was how it was working. But it looked way easier now in the new setup, at least.
Yeah, so in the new setup, there's a co-host option, and you can actually. Okay, I'm not going to add all active groups. That's probably not a good thing. But if I wanted to add the Massachusetts Higher Ed TUG, which I do because I completely forgot my bad, I can just do that. I can just click it and click save. And now when I go to the Mass Higher Ed page and refresh, I should see. I should.
It did say upcoming events.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so now I see the conference, the education meetup at TC listed here as well. So
and then I assume that when people sign in through this one, then it will be virtually for that particular group as well.
So we are actually sort of forcing registration to be through the TC catalog, because we're not doing a simultaneous virtual meetup. That would be a little hard and insane. I'm just gonna say that that's a whole lot of work to have that happen. So there is an RSVP, but we are trying to force people to go to this spot. So at some point, we're probably going to email all the people who have RSVP'd and just say, hey, make sure you put this on your TC catalog, or in the TC app to get it onto your schedule. Just to we didn't fully think through how to do this. It was more of a let's just find one more way to put it out there that we're doing a meetup so that people can plan as soon as possible. So yeah, we're gonna see how this works. But that virtual, like which ones are virtual versus which ones are in person, that is definitely a thing that if you're setting up a super tug, think through what you expect to see on for each option. Make it very clear in the ticket types. This is in person in Norway or in person at TC, versus this is a virtual sign up through the Finland tug versus the Norway tug.
I have a question. Has anyone ever done a combined tug with a Salesforce user group? We're going to do one. That's why I'm wondering.
I have not.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit more about that. Like how did that happen? How did you
Well,
find the Salesforce people to be
I
willing to
didn't
co-host?
I didn't know there was such a thing, and I forget how I found it, but I invited their leader to one of our user groups because they use it occasionally, Tableau. And he joined us, and he found it very interesting because they don't do a lot of analytics in his position, but they would like to. And then we came up with the idea of doing a group session where we're going to be talking about the CRM analytics, which is what they typically use on the Salesforce side, and Tableau, and doing a comparison and showing how they can go a little bit farther using Tableau. So
Oh, that's cool. You actually you're putting the content around like sort of engaging both sides of.
Yeah, at least
cool.
that's the idea. I don't know how interesting it will be for our Tableau users. We'll see. But we thought it could be of interest to both sides. It's not going to be a continual, always doing it together thing, but we thought it's worth a try.
Yeah, it'd be great to hear back after you posted the session. So when is the session?
This is in May, and it's in person.
Okay. Yeah. So come back for either the May or June Tug Tips Live.
Okay.
Share how it went. Share in the Tug Top Tips channel, like what some of the lessons learned were. It would be great to sort of hear what this new and murky option that I don't know that many of us have really thought about or put into place how that goes.
Yeah.
I do know. I feel like I remember hearing recently that there is a separate CRM analytics tug. I think they recently moved to our Bevy because I think they were hosting in Meetup or in some other tool in the past. It'll be interesting it might be worth like reaching out to them to see like what have they found in terms of content or trying to engage both sides of it. What tips do they have?
Okay. Thanks.
I can't remember who now, but I will find. Actually, hold on. We should be able to find this out by going to Bevy. Let's go.
Please join a group.
Yeah. Let's go to the tug, and I imagine that this is under product, probably. Yeah, CRMA.
Okay.
And yeah, reach out to these guys on the tug leader Slack. And they might have some tips on sort of trying to put those two sides of the world together.
Thanks. Good idea.
Yeah.
Will do. Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes. I know it's sort of random and out there, but we thought there is a common thread there, so why not?
There is. All right. We still have, hold on. We still have time, very short amount of time for a little bit of open forum if folks have other things they want to share, questions they want to ask, whatnot. Um, go for it. Oh, actually, one of the questions that's on here, the TC tug. So, TC 25. For the folks who are not going in person, we mentioned earlier there's the virtual option. I know during the first or second year after the pandemic, we did some watch parties for folks who weren't going in person. But I also know that some tugs are doing their own watch along, maybe not for all of the sessions, but for things like the keynote and the other Salesforce Plus sessions that are going to be shown live. Does anyone have any plans to do anything like that for their tug, either a watch along or just doing a discussion of some of those recorded sessions, anything like that?
Discussion, but not a watch along.
Are you planning questions, and like how guided is this discussion? Do you have questions planned, or is it going to be a show up and we'll figure out what people want to talk about? Like how are you going around for that?
We haven't got that far yet, but probably more like that than. But it's probably good if we come with a couple of fixed questions. You're right.
I'm trying to remember because we did one or two of these in the past, and I feel like we had questions. I have no idea what those questions were. I mean, I think they were very much like almost like icebreakers, like what is the thing that you found most exciting or most interesting from Devs on Stage or from this keynote? Like, what do you have more questions about? Sort of that like attempt to get potential topics for future, for future tugs, or to see if you can connect with the Tableau, your account execs or whatnot, to see if they can bring in a Tableau speaker at a tug, that sort of thing. I don't remember how well it went. It's been too long. My brain does not hold enough information. Also, it is way too early for me to think. Anything else folks want to discuss?
I guess we'll do the discussion in TC for those who are going, and for those who are not going, hopefully we will learn something more about hopefully the upcoming, if any, Data Fam Europe this fall.
That'd be cool.
And there's also actually, Chris, I don't know if this is you or not, because I know you're in that area, but Visit's happening, right? Is Visit Sydney?
Visit Sydney is happening. I think it's the first week of June. Yes, it's the 3rd and the 4th of June this year. So a free conference, you've just got to get to Sydney.
I did check the flights, but it would take me 36 hours from Norway. So
I
unfortunately,
don't know what you're complaining about. I'd be booking a ticket right now, right? Andy Cockreeve came. I don't think they had it last year. The year before, Andy Cockreeve came. So Torre, you can just come this year and just replace him. I know. And hey, it's cold in Sydney in July, so it might get down to, I don't know, maybe 10 degrees Celsius. That'd be really cold.
What for the non-metric folks in the audience? Probably just me.
I don't know. I would have to Google that too. And I just Googled 10C in F, and it's just like 50.
50.
No, we wouldn't. If it was below 50 in Sydney, people would be freaking out.
This is what happens in Texas. It's 60 degrees and you bring out your winter parka. 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what, like, I can't do math, but less than 20 degrees Celsius, you bring out your winter parka.
Yeah.
If you have one.
On the
That's a
weekend,
nice summer day in Norway. That's the 10 degrees Celsius. So if we have 16 to 20, we're happy.
I was joking the other day. On the weekend, where it was 62 Fahrenheit, and I went, I've got to put on some clothes because it's just too cold. So, yeah, well, Laura, I think on the weekend was the first time I'd worn jeans since about, I don't know, November or something.
That's incredible.
So
We had like 14 degrees, so obviously only a tiny bit warmer than you're saying. That was not this Saturday, the Saturday before. Now, it was sunny, so you feel a little bit like, it does feel a bit warmer, but I was at a run and I saw a guy running completely topless because he was like so happy that we had some sun. And it was 14 degrees and I was like, wow, it's cracking the flags.
Yeah, that's good.
I will say I was biking to work a couple of weeks ago. It was like a little above freezing, something in the less than 40 degrees, so at like 5-ish. I'm really bad at math and engaging these things, but let's say it's about 5 degrees Celsius. There's a guy in like a short sleeved shirt, shorts, and sandals. So like sort of the Tiva style sandals where you have a base and then you have straps holding that base to your foot. No socks. I was sitting there like wondering if my choice in socks, because I was so a little cold, I was like, man, I wonder if I should have picked the warmer socks today. And up in front of me is this guy, no socks. I'm like, well, clearly I am not built for this weather, but this guy, shorts and a t-shirt in, barely above freezing weather.
Although you were cycling, so you get warm cycling, don't you?
I know, but your toes are exposed. Your toes are exposed.
You're right.
It's barely above freezing. I
Makes you faster.
Yeah, true. He must be from the Nordics. That was really like warm for him.
I don't. Maybe that's what it was. I was just shocked. I was like, wow. Good on you. I feel like that is that an Australian thing or is that a UK
That's pretty
thing?
Aussie. You almost got it Aussie when you said good on you as well.
Yeah.
You've just got to mumble it all together. Good on you.
Good on you.
Is the better way to
Good on
do
you.
it. Yeah.
But yeah,
speaking
that's
of visit, I know Viraj has gone, but I'm pretty sure he's coming to visit. At least he's planning to.
Nice.
He was talking about it the other day.
Cool.
So, fairly big trip for him as well. So that'll be good.
Yep. And there are a bunch of, I know a few of these folks are TUG leaders who are helping with that. So
that. Now that we're all in the same room and talking about Bevy, do you notice something on this page that you're looking at right now?
not Bevy.
The severe lack of something. The severe lack of Twitter. And on Bevy, you can only use Twitter and you can't use Blue Sky. So I put that in
I
as
asked them about that, Chris, as well. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I put that in as a support ticket a few weeks ago, and they just sort of went, "Oh yeah, we'll get to it," and just it disappeared.
They have said to me the same. They're like, it's on our list. Basically, they have loads of things on their list, but they're like, it is. Every time someone asks something like that, it does help because the more people that ask about it, the more like they're like, right, okay, this is an issue. And they did say something they're trying to figure out, but it's not something that's like right on the top of their priority right now. But only because they've got other things to do. But they did hear it and were like, it's on their overall roadmap, I guess.
So what I'm hearing there is that if you want to see Blue Sky or any other options, you should still email Bevy Help or contact Bevy Help to help prioritize and move it up the priority list.
Yeah, for sure. Like if they don't hear that we want it, they can't presume. So yeah, definitely.
And without naming names, but one of the people on that screen that you're looking at now is so. And a lot of the data fam around the world, I'm not pointing the fingers at any person individually, but there's a lot of people that's just so anti-US, not even US, anti-Musk.
Yeah.
You just sort of go, let's not use Twitter, let's go on off and use something else. And I don't know what their decision is, but it was very interesting that there's no Twitter on here at all. It is all Blue Sky and LinkedIn and nothing else. And Bevy is all LinkedIn and Twitter and nothing else. So, whichever.
Just a quick heads up, if you haven't contacted Bevy Help, when you are logged in as yourself and you go to your dashboard, you will see this question mark in the corner. there's a bunch of, what's next and all of that. You can search the knowledge base, and I think somewhere from here, there's an option to, actually right there, contact support, and that's how you can put in your request to get Blue Sky or whatever other social media link options you want added to your page. So,
And of course, you can always add it in the description as well. Like, that's also something to mention if you do want to add your Blue Sky links. Like, Rushdie, I know you've got a lot in your description where you can how to contact the TUG and whatever, where you can add the link to Blue Sky, in the description. Don't think that you can't have anything on there at all.
Yep.
So you can have a heading like that, yeah.
Yeah, and we have this contact information down here. What's this? Oh, hey, look at that! Apparently, we put our YouTube channel on here too. Clearly, I haven't looked at this page in a very long time because it very much is a set it and forget it.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Now I'm curious as to where we did this and when we did this because I have no memory of it. All right. So I'm gonna try to find the slides because I feel like there's a closing slide, and I know that we've gone over. There we go. Thank you. Thanks everyone for coming. This is another slide from the Data for All slide deck. So there's a whole bunch out there.
See you next time, or see some of you in TC then, or was it just you and me, Roshni, then? Because Chris is not coming, Laura's not coming.
I think it's just us.
Just you guys.
See you soon.
Oh, nice to see you. Enjoy TC.
All right, thanks.
See you later.
I'm gonna miss you guys.
I know, definitely.
Awesome.
Miss it. See you soon. Thanks so much. That was nice. Bye.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Bye, everyone.
Okay. All right. Have a good time. See ya. Bye.
See ya.